Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/AITA. In today's episode, AITA for telling my wife it's not cute for her to encourage our teenage daughter to expect her boyfriend to pay for everything in their relationship. AITA for refusing to let my sister wear our late mom's necklace on her wedding day. AITA for looking out for my new coworker by telling her that her food might be upsetting to others. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. AITA for telling my wife it's not cute for her to encourage our teenage daughter to expect her boyfriend to pay for everything in their relationship. Wife and I have been married 18 years. We have our 16-year-old daughter who has been dating a slightly shy/awkward young man for around 3 to 4 months now. He seems very nervous around my daughter and has admitted in a passing comment here and there to my wife and I that he can't believe she agreed to date him and he thinks she's way out of his league. He seems very respectful, just shy. My wife is usually an independent, awesome woman and her ideals align closely with mine, particularly in terms of feminism and equality. We have both striven to raise our daughter to be as independent and capable as possible. Since my daughter has been dating this kid, my wife has changed considerably and has given our daughter advice that has left me with raised brows more than once. Some of the advice I've heard my wife give is, "Oh, it's cute for boys to pay for everything, especially in your first relationship." Or, "Oh honey, don't worry about that, he can pay for you, if he really liked you he would," and similar. I've tried to balance this out by telling my daughter straight away two people in a partnership should be contributing equally, and my personal favorite, if someone asks if they can take you out to dinner, it's reasonable to expect them to pay, but if someone asks you to grab dinner with them, it's reasonable to split the payment. I figured that would be an easy way for a young person to understand the difference. However, I've noticed my daughter becoming more and more entitled with her boyfriend's money. They haven't been anywhere obviously since we're home, but the way she talks about him, "Oh, I'll just ask him to pay for X, etc., leaves a bad taste in my mouth." She has also flippantly bragged/mentioned that she gets him to buy gift cards for her, etc., by mentioning her mother's advice, i.e., "If you really like me you'd pay for X." I spoke to my wife privately and told her my concerns. She insists it's a rite of passage for girls and it's cute that she should feel a guy is completely spoiling her. I told her that it's not cute for her to be thinking it's acceptable to view relationships as personal ATMs, and my wife became very angry with me and is now calling me an asshole with a lot of hostility. Encouraging her daughter to exploit her BF financially and being a fierce, independent woman whose ideals align with yours on feminism and equality do not compute. Maybe she is not as fierce and independent as you thought. I'm wondering if OP is now realizing that he is in fact a walking ATM to the women in his life. NTA, ask your wife how she would feel if his dad told his son if she really liked you, she'd. You get the idea. EW, no, not cute. You sir are NTA, your wife and daughter however are. Honestly, I'd call a family meeting and sit down with both of them and explain how damaging this attitude of entitlement can be, both for her and the boy she's going to exploit. If things don't change, give that poor boyfriend of hers a heads up. If he's a good kid, he doesn't deserve to be used if she doesn't actually care about him beyond his wallet. We need this guy to see this. NTA. This is teaching her to be financially dependent on men and creating a sense of entitlement. Also, assuming he's around her age, it's very unreasonable to expect a 16-year-old to have money to pay for everything of hers in the first place. I was thinking of this. I remember in early relationships, the boy paid for the majority of dates, but I would always try to chip in. For example, he takes me to a movie and I buy popcorn. I believe that certain families and areas still encourage this behavior as a culture, and I remember feeling special in boys actually being offended by not being allowed to buy you dinner, etc., but gift cards are taking it way too far. NTA, your wife's advice is turning your daughter entitled and spoiled. This is not healthy in a relationship of any age, and splitting costs should be how it is. You are completely right about relationships not being personal ATMs. If I was dating someone who started acting increasingly entitled to my money, I'd leave. It's not cool. AITA. Women that hop back and forth between exploiting feminism and chivalry when it's advantageous for them are the worst. NTA for sure. If you really liked me, you would pay? Just no. You should talk to your daughter though, ask her if she notices what she is doing and if she really likes him for him and not just his money. AITA for refusing to let my sister wear our late mom's necklace on her wedding day? Sister 22F and I, 26F, lost our mom 20 years ago. Mom had a lot of jewelry and she had it in her will that we would each get specific pieces of it. Dad remarried a year later to Jane. My sister considers Jane her mom and Jane's daughter Nora, 23F, her sister. Due to her feeling like they were just mom and sister and not step, my sister has given away all the jewelry she got from mom to Jane and Nora. I always refused to let them borrow pieces from me. Jane always rubbed me the wrong way because she said my mom was not my sister's mom anymore and she was basically a stand-in until her real mom, her/Jane, could come into my sister's life. She said it was disgusting that I would think it a bad thing for my sister to share pretty jewelry with no real meaning with her family. She said I was the one who was rejecting a mom and sister. My sister has nothing left from what mom left her. When she was graduating high school, she was upset about not having anything to wear, or so it appeared, and she asked if she could borrow a bracelet mom left me. I was like, sure, just give it back after. But my sister gave it to Jane after and it took months for me to get it back. I told Jane I would escalate the situation if I didn't. Everyone, meaning Dad, my sister, Jane and Nora, thought I was shitty for that. Now the necklace has become an issue. It was mom's favorite piece of jewelry and I have always worn it. I wore it on my wedding day. My sister is aware that it was mom's favorite and she has seen photos of her wearing it. She wanted to borrow it to wear on her wedding day. I was like, no fucking way. I told her I had made it clear after the graduation incident that she was never borrowing another piece off me again, and I told her that if she wants something of mom's to wear, she should take back the stuff she gave away. My sister lost it with me and started yelling that I have always held it against her that she didn't hold mom on a pedestal and reject everyone who came into our lives after. She said I had no right to throw that stuff in her face, I didn't, and that she should be allowed to wear something of mom's to her wedding just like I did when I got married. She broke down and told me I was selfish and awful and I took pleasure in doing this to her and I sucked and had ruined her wedding. AITA? NTA, it's your jewelry. If your sister valued the thought of wearing/owning something that belonged to your mom, she should have kept her pieces instead of giving them away to someone who had no real meaning towards the jewelry in terms of sentimental value. If she understands the sentimentality of having your mother's jewelry, she should have promptly returned your bracelet, not given your bracelet to your stepsister without asking you. You can't trust her, either her own sense of propriety is warped or your stepmom/sis have some undue influence on her. She can get hers back or deal with it. The biggest here are stepmom/sis to manipulate a child who lost their mother to just take somebody else's jewelry passed down from a relative. I hate the term how it's used most of the time, but here gold digger is very much appropriate. NTA. Your sister can ask Jane or Nora. Your necklace isn't just technically yours, but legally, and after the bracelet debacle, you're right not to trust her. You should address this with your father. It's a shame he didn't have your back the first time. Info: why can't your sister borrow the things she gave away to Jane and Nora? NTA. I specifically asked this question because I was curious about your sister's motivation to nag you about your jewelry, also because it appeared that your stepmother set her up to get the necklace and keep it for herself. My advice is that if you don't feel familial ties with your father, sister and step creatures, go low or no contact. It's pointless to bind yourself in ties that don't exist. Free yourself from the resentment and pain. What are the chances that her dear mom sold the pieces? Info: who instigated the giving away if the jewelry, and at what age? If it was when your sister was under about 15, I think it's fair to say she was pressured by Jane into severing any emotional attachment to her birth mother, in which case TA here is Jane. It may then have been kind to consider lending jewelry under very strict and clear conditions, although I accept the only practical way is to ask for a deposit leading to inevitable fireworks there. If older than that, then your sister is TA. The incident with the lending and then giving it away was graduation, so presumably at least 18. I think Jane is far more of an asshole here than sister, but sister is old enough to understand why she can't be trusted with being loaned jewelry anymore. NTA, she had jewelry from your shared mother. It's on her that she gave it away even if she gave it to family. Let her ask her mom and sister for a piece of the jewelry she shared back for her wedding day. Don't give up a piece of your mom, especially since you had such a hard time getting the first piece back. NTA, she's picking and choosing when to amp up the morning shtick to manipulate you into giving her what she wants. She was irresponsible with the last piece she borrowed from you. More than that, she gave it away to someone and left you to clean up the mess. She made her choices with the items she was left. She can go try to claw back that mistake herself this time. AITA for looking out for my new co-worker by telling her that her food might be upsetting to others? I, 32M, white, am potentially in trouble at work, but I don't really think I deserve it. My co-worker, Anna, 23-ish F, Asian, is new at our office and she brings her own lunch on days we don't have a food truck. On Thursday, yesterday, she brought in a homemade stir-fry and used our shared microwave in the break room to do it. I was in the room when she took it out of the microwave and it smelled heavenly. I asked her about the recipe and she told me it was just a bunch of ingredients and spices thrown together as to not waste any veggies that might go bad soon. When I was telling her how good it smelled, I also mentioned that some other people at the office might think it would be too smelly or ethnic, as in, racist people tend to look down on ethnic things. I have read those kind of stories on here about microaggressions when it comes to people of color and the food they bring in, and I wanted to warn her that she might not want to bring it in anymore so it doesn't happen to her. I emphasized that it smelled good to me personally, though. I guess a couple of the other co-workers in the room overheard our conversation, because after Anna left the room, some of them sort of quietly told me how it was inappropriate for me to have said that. I told them that it's true, that ethnic food gets ridiculed for smelling too strong and that I disagreed with that sentiment, but I also think she would face less harassment if she didn't bring in that food anymore. One of my other co-workers then said that I was the only one harassing her and making insinuations that her food is problematic, plus the fact that she hasn't even been bringing in her own food that often since she just started last week, so there couldn't have been an opportunity to have had this hypothetical harassment happen to her. I just wanted people, yes, even the assholes, at the office to make her feel welcomed. I left work the day not thinking anything of it, until the following morning where I hear from a different coworker that Anna talked to our HR department about the conversation and how she was hurt. I'm a bit frustrated as to why she didn't talk to me about it first, since it was just a misunderstanding and that I'm looking out for her. I did notice that today she was trying to dodge me, which is unusual and a bit heartbreaking. I just want to work things out. I wanted to be a friend to her and help her out since this is one of her first jobs out of undergrad, but this has been blown about proportion. Now my coworkers think I'm racist, but I really try my best to be an ally, but then again, what do I know? So, am I the asshole for telling her that her food might be a bit too much for other potentially racist people in the office to handle? YTA. You are the microaggressor. YTA. Your coworker is a grown woman who's been Asian her entire life. Do you genuinely think she's unaware that racism exists? All you did was put her on edge around coworkers who may not even be racist. Congratulations, you're the one who created the microaggression. Exactly. She's going to be well aware, and if she isn't somehow, maybe your workplace won't be full of AHs. The OP went out of his way to make her self-conscious and create a problem that doesn't exist. YTA. Also, OP, you should also be aware that plenty of people who claim to be allies pull stuff like this. Kindness that is condescending at best or at worst, a cover for their bigoted opinions by deflecting the blame onto others. I don't blame her for going to HR. White people teaching POC about racism, sigh. YTA. So your co-worker was peacefully enjoying her lunch, and you goose-stepped over there like the microwave police to tell her that some people would find her food too ethnic. But not you, because you're one of the good white people. But then you go, no, but actually the racists are right, you are asking for racism by bringing Asian food in. YTA. Stop being racist to your coworker, she was just trying to eat her leftovers FFS. Get out of your white fragility shield and recognize your own awful hurtful behavior and learn from it and the feedback you're getting, please. YTA, you are not protecting her from racists, you yourself are being racist. If you're trying to convince us / yourself that you're an ally, you might be more than a bit delusional. Also, stop trying to hang around your young coworker LMAO. YTA. You came off like this, some people might say that your food is smelly. Not me though. But some people. And then you proceeded to call her food ethnic. You might as well have worn a shirt that said some people on it with an arrow pointing to your face. Doesn't sound like you were ill-intentioned, but sometimes you just have to give a compliment and let it be. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.